Does it look fine?
Yeah, I think we all heard up till the portfolio part, and then you cut out.
Okay, cool. Okay, so yeah, introduction to HTML, CSS Bootstrap. Today we'll be making a portfolio, kind of like web page. These are two professors actually. These are just their web pages, and if it's fine for them, then it should be fine for all you guys. And let's get started with HTML. So HTML is actually it stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and it's actually like the foundation to structure web elements and lay it out for web pages. And it's a pretty old language, so it's easy to learn. It's not too complicated. You don't really have to know a lot, just these tiny little things, which are called tags. If you memorize at least like 5 of them, then you're fine. So yeah, let's get into like the syntax of HTML really. This is all you have to know is how to use tags. And what tags are, it's what surrounds all your text that will be shown on the web page. And this is what most of the time you'll be typing. So we have an opening tag and a closing tag and our text in between. And this kind of dates back to when they used to be making like manuscripts back then. The writers would bolden and like underline things, and then when they would have to print it out for actors to read the script and reproduce it, uh, the the producers that would type this stuff up, they would take the underlines and bolded stuff and know how to type it up just from that. And that's kind of like what we're doing here with these tags. We're telling the computer what to bolden, what's the title, and all that. So actually, the first type of tag we saw here is an opening tag and a closing tag. This is probably the most common, but there are also self-closing tags. It's like the title for Simplihacks. You saw like a slash at the end. That's self-closing, and it's just a single thing, no opening and closing, just a single tag. And right here, this is actually a horizontal rule, and we'll see that soon later. And there's also attributes. So if you've coded in any other language, you could kind of think of these as like the parameters of HTML. It allows us to customize whatever. So the tag we got going on here is a link, an A tag, and the href is like the link it goes to, and target is new web page and all that. But yeah, the target and the href is the attributes, and the element here is A. These are some common HTML tags. If you know these, then you're pretty much adept in HTML, or everything else beyond this you can just Google or whatever. But right here we got HTML, which tells it's just the entire HTML document. Head is usually the top of an HTML document that holds like metadata and your title, your icons that you'd see on the top and like your tab when you open up a new web page. Body is where most of your code will be going. It's pretty much the entire page. Everything you see on the page, most of the time it'll be stored inside the body. And your div is just a way of dividing. You can think of it as divider. It's short for divider. So it's so you can group things, you can easily organize and understand where everything's going. And then the H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, etc., etc. These are like your header tags. So all of them stand for header. And starting from H1, that's the biggest you can go, and they get smaller from there. You got your P and span tags, which is P for paragraph, and span, I think that just stands for span, but this is where you'll be putting text most of the time, like your long paragraphs, just your any body of text in general, you'll be surrounding it in like a P or a span tag. Next, you got your image tag. Your image tags, self-explanatory, it's image, any image you see on a page, background image, etc., etc. And you got your horizontal rule tag next. So HR stands for horizontal rule. If we actually go back here, if you don't know what a horizontal rule is, these lines right here are called horizontal rules, and you can actually adjust them, but they're just like line breaks. They're just rules, or just pretty much lines in the page. So those are horizontal rules. I'm not sure if you guys can see my mouse, but the lines on their web pages. And then next we have a break, which BR stands short for break. It's just going to be a line break, kind of like a new line, except it's just there's an empty line flat out for itself. And finally, we got our lists. So we have an unordered list, which is like what we have right here, just a bunch of dots next to all the words. So that's an unordered list. We have an ordered list, which is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we have a list item, or LI, list item. All these are like abbreviations, by the way. And I'll send a cheat sheet for you guys to use if you want to look into it. But li stands for list item, and whenever you use an unordered list or an ordered list, you have to surround everything inside them under list items. So, if does anybody have any questions on that so far? Okay, I think I have the link somewhere. There has to be like, give me 2 seconds. Okay, yeah, here's a cheat sheet. If you guys want to look into that, that's pretty much like every HTML tag that you'll need. Or you don't even need all of them. It's just like every HTML tag. And it looks like this. Open it up. Yeah, basic tags, formatting, lists. You got everything here. But yeah, let's start getting into our portfolio, I guess you could say. So I'm going to be using REPL just because it's pretty easy and you can visualize everything. And I'll share this with everybody after. And okay, so let's make an HTML CSS thing. Let's just call this web page. Okay. Yeah, so what we got here is first, don't worry about like script.js or style.css. We'll get into that later. But what you want to be concerned about here is your index.html. So this is the HTML file that you'll be seeing on right here. Every time you click run, it'll update the right side, and this is what your website looks like. So breaking down what it starts us out with here, this is just a connection to the script.js, but we're not going to be using that today, so just get rid of that. But yeah, so every HTML document has to start with doc type HTML. What this is saying is it's telling the computer that this is an HTML file, and everything inside it is HTML. And what you want to do is the meta tag mean, yeah, meta means metadata. So if you don't know what metadata is, oh, it's kind of difficult to explain. It's any data you can't get directly from the web page. So you don't see the data itself actually on the web page. I guess you could think of metadata. Here's an example of metadata. Like if you took a photo, the metadata would be when you took the photo, the location where you took the photo, but it's not actually like the data in the photo itself. It's not the image itself. It's kind of like the details about it, the title of the photo. That's all the metadata. And the metadata we got here, oh, yep, by the way, it's onside the head tag right now. So this is where you store all your metadata pretty much, but we got the title of the web page. So if I were to actually pull this up and go into a new tab and copy paste it, it would show REPL.it. So let's just call this my portfolio. All right, and what we got going on here, a meta char set, that's just telling it that we're using the UTF-8 char set, or yeah, pretty much that. That's kind of like the language that we're using. Or, yeah, I guess you could say it that way. We got meta name viewport. It's telling the viewport to go to the device width. And this is linking us to this style.css sheet, which we'll be getting into soon after we get this laid out. So yeah, let's start getting into it. You guys can follow along if you want on another REPL, but I'll be sharing this at the end. So I guess to start it off, we should probably make like let's just do like 3 sections, or yeah, 3 sections. Okay. So we'll be going into is we got 3 sections going on here. This top section will be like our, oh, I didn't mention this by the way, but you can do comments too. So the way to do comments is you put an opening tag with an exclamation mark and 2 dashes, and then you can type whatever you want in here. So for the time being, let's just have this be like our top part of profile. Then we have our, let's just say about us, and then we can have like a contact us part. Yeah, but in terms of the stuff in here, let's start out with our profile. So first I want to have my name. So let's do an H1 and just say I am tens. And if we actually click run, you can see it shows up on here. So here we go. We say I am tens, or yeah, I'm tens. And then let's actually have something under that. professional Valorant player. There we go, and this could be your profile, but I also have, I probably have a photo somewhere. Yeah, I have a photo of tens on my computer. Let me drag this in. Let's actually make an images folder so we can keep things organized. So we'll put all of our images in images here, and I'm gonna drag my photo of tens in there. Yep. So let's add an image up here because I don't know what tens looks like. So we're gonna do an image, and if you remember image, it's just img, and what it actually has is something called source. So src equals this. The attribute source means this is where our image is coming from. You could put a URL, you could put a file path, but in this case, we're gonna be putting a file path. So our image is located in images slash, and then the image name tens.jpg. So let's run that. There we go. We got tens up there. Yep. So that's our profile part. Let's divide that with a horizontal rule. So we'll get a line going on there. Yep. And now about us. So maybe for about me, I actually want to split this up into two parts. So let me group more divs inside. It's gonna get a little confusing, but yeah. So maybe on this top part, I just want to put like specifically about me. And then maybe on this bottom part, I want to put like some of my skills. Yep. So about, let's just make it say, let's use an H3 actually, and make it say about me. Kind of see where we're going here. It's like we got different tags, meaning different categories and all that. And let's make it say, I am tens, the world's best aimer. Oh my. Okay. Yep, that's our paragraph there. And let's say in our skills, maybe I want to list all my skills. So let's do another H3 tag. And now we're going to use our ordered list that we were talking about. So I think it'd probably be more relevant to do like an unordered list. So if you remember what unordered list is, U for unordered and list. And a lot of this is just kind of memory, but you can always refer back to the sheet. You can always look things up. But we're going to do an unordered list. And whenever you do any type of list, you have to make sure that you put list items. So everything inside any type of list has to be surrounded with the li tags because it's a list item. And that's telling it that we can put a dot, or it can put a dot to the left of it or a number, and it's just part of the list. So skills, cool hair, aim, communication. And as you can see there, we just had it pop up. So that's nice. We finished our about us section we got going on here. So let's add another horizontal rule. And now I have like a contact me section. So let's put I think an H2 tag would fit here. So contact me. And let's have some links. So let's have 3 different links, I guess. Let's make a Twitter link, a what's good, YouTube link, and an email. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, cool. So now it's not actually a link. It's just like a bunch of text. So if actually back in our slide here, we went over what an A tag looks like, and this allows us to link things. So let's start surrounding it. So let's put A. We're gonna link his Twitter now. So this anything we wrap in an A tag becomes a link. Oh, someone's saying something. Okay, yeah. So yeah, let's wrap it. href. Href is the link. So let's go to like twitter.com. Official tens. And if we want to actually open up in it, so I'll show this right now. When you actually click on actually that's not a good idea because then it's going to take me off this page. But just for demonstration purposes, if you do target equals blank, what this is telling it is it wants you to open it up in a new tab. If you don't put target equals underscore blank, then it's going to redirect you from this page directly to the page that you just clicked on. Let's do the same here. So we got youtube.com's tens. Target up blank again. And let's close the tag. And finally, emails. So emails are they're a bit unique. So you can actually href and do something called mail to, and that will actually open up your email app on your computer or whatever mail app you have installed. And you can put whatever email in here. So I'll just do like tens@gmail.com or something. If I were to actually like try clicking on it, there we go. My mail app just opened. So that's a pretty cool thing you could probably incorporate into yours. But yeah, it looks like we got our, I guess you could say our layout. Kind of looks bland. I want to add another photo. Do I got anything else? Let's see. I do got this photo of Tens in his action shot. Hold on. Yes, sir. Ooh. So we're gonna put that under. Let's just put that over here. Let's just put an image up here. And I'm just gonna copy that because I'm lazy. There we go. That should be right. Nope, it's not a JPEG. It's a JPG. Please load. Uh-oh. Did I disconnect? Did Ripple go down? Can you guys hear me? Oh, there we go. It's up. Oh, it's just a really large photo. But we'll fix that later when we go into CSS. Yep, so it's time to go into cascading style sheets. So does anybody have any questions? Going once? Okay, I think we're all good at that. CSS. Styling fun part that makes everything look pretty. So what's CSS? It stands for Cascading Style Sheets. And essentially what it does is it's just styling your web page, making it look pretty. HTML is kind of like the backbone, the skeleton, and your CSS is your clothing, your muscles, and it's just it just makes it look nice. Yeah. And it saves a lot of time, so that's another thing. You could actually do inline CSS, but that would be inefficient if you were to do it for every single element. So that's why we have cascading style sheets, and this is what a style sheet looks like. For instance, you could do you could just assign a style to everything in your body, a style to everything in your H1 or your paragraph tag, and we'll get into that soon. So all CSS is just styling. It's just another sheet, and it's pretty simple, but there's a lot of ways of styling things. Luckily, we have the internet, so if you don't know something, you could just look it up and just copy paste whatever they have on MDN web documents or something. But this is what actually inline styling looks like. So we have our div HTML tag that we had earlier, but we have an attribute called style, and this right here is all CSS. So text align center, that's aligning the text in the center for this div. And when you have your CSS file, this is pretty much everything you're going to be typing in it. So there's multiple components of it. Our first part is our selectors. So our selector is going to tell us which part we want to apply the styling to CSS to. So in this case, we're applying it to every H1 element inside our HTML file. The property we got going on here, or actually this is a declaration, so it's declaring that we want to change the color to blue. The color in this case is the property of the element, and the value that we want to change it to is blue. And there's three main CSS selectors I guess you should probably know, and it is an element, which is like your H1 tags, your H2 tags, your body. That's probably as vague as or broad as you can go. Vague. And next, most specific that we have is classes. So Classes, you can have multiple classes for one element, and the most specific possible is ID. And with IDs, you can't stack IDs, I think. Yeah, you can't stack IDs, but someone correct me if I'm wrong there, but I'm pretty sure you can't stack IDs. And these are all just ways of being able to select elements from your HTML file. Okay, so let's go back and let's make our thing look pretty. So first thing I probably want to get out of the way is not having this thing look disgustingly big. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to, where is that image? Right here, and we're gonna apply an inline style. So style equals, and many of these things, there's some common CSS things you should know, but most of it you can just look up, like how to center something, how to change background color. But yeah, let's change the size of this. So I want to set the height of it to, let's just change the height to like 200 pixels. All right, and oh, by the way, every time you want to change a property or you make a new declaration, you have to separate it by a semicolon. And let's change the width to 200 pixels. Let's see what that looks like. That looks a lot better, but that's a bit smaller than I wanted. So let's change the width to 600. There we go. Oh, I also forgot to mention this. Object fit cover. So if you don't, I think it goes by the width first, but it will resize and keep its proportions unless you tell it otherwise based off its width. So if I put like 600 pixels, it's going to keep the height proportionate to whatever you have the width. So let me actually just set object cover. Let's just do this to, or let me see. I think I kind of forgot it, so I'm just going to look this up real quick. What is the thing that lets you, yep, object fit cover. So that should, now it actually looks like 600 pixels by 200 pixels high. Yep, that's right. And let's get actually into our style sheet we got going on now. So first thing, I don't like the background, so let's change everything in the background. Let me see everything. Yep. So let's change everything in the HTML background color. Let's set it to color picker. Let's just set it to, let's set it to this color. I like this color. So you can put RGB values, but you have to do like RGB and then blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to use a hex value here. We click run, and our web page changes background color. So that looks a bit ugly. I don't know if I like that, but we'll just have to deal with it. All right, and next thing I want to change is the font, because I don't know if Times New Roman is the best font to have going on any web page all the time. So what we can do is, I actually have a link saved. Let me actually pick that up from my links over here. So we got a link right here. If you wanna, you can actually go onto Google, and they have a web page where you can select fonts, and they'll give you like an HTML link that you can paste inside your file if you wanna upload any font. So let's do that here. There we go. This is just importing a font from Google, Montserrat. It's what we use for Simplihacks as well a lot. Wait, have I been in? Okay, yeah, I have 3 Discord tabs open. I just thought I wasn't in it for a second, sorry. So that imports Montserrat. Let's go over into style.css, and I want to change everything to Montserrat. So let's change font family over to, please say I spelled that right, and sans serif. Yep, there we go. So everything in the file just changed to Montserrat. We got to change that. Now, what if I want to manipulate the photo? So let's say I want to make this photo. What if I want to center everything, actually? So let's get that out of the way. I want to center everything in my profile. I'm not going to go all the way. I'm just going to do like a couple things just for time's sake. But let's actually give this a an ID of Tens photo. Now what we could do is we can actually go back here and IDs we use a hashtag, so I named it Tens photo. And this, what it's doing is we can select, it's telling the computer to select it in our file, and we can style it. So we're selecting this spot. What I want to do is I want to center this. Actually, let me just make it circle. Border radius, because that would make more sense if it's a circle. Yep, I guess that's as circle as we're going to get it. If we're going to center it, I'm trying to remember. I think we do display block. There's different types of displays. I could send a link online after. Then we want to set the margins to auto. Yep, there we go. We got it in the center now. So that's our center Tens photo right there. And let's say we want to center our text. So centering our text is pretty simple. Let's actually select our, what do we want to select? Let's actually assign this, our profile, to have the class profile. So we can just select this div. So classes, we use a dot. And let's set the text to be aligned in the center. There we go. We have that aligned in the center. Let's say I want to take this photo and put it in the center as well. So, you know, maybe I will give that my Tens photo ID as well. There we go. Beautiful. Mwah. And I think this is like a pretty fair amount of CSS. We'll do one more thing. What should we do? Let's center everything in contact me and make it have a heavier weight. So let's go down here, contact me, give this a class of contact. And we'll get the contact class by using our dot and then the word contact. And let's align all the text in the center. And let's make the weight, the font weight? Yep, the font weight 700. So that should make everything bold. Did it? Yeah, it kind of did. It made all of these things bold, but that's just kind of like playing around with CSS. So font weight bold. Yeah, a lot of this is just playing around and testing and hoping that it looks nice. But yeah, I think you guys get the idea. This is how CSS works. You got the file. You can select elements. You can select IDs. You can select classes, etc., etc., and you can change their properties. So I guess the last final thing we're going to do is we're going to kind of do like an introduction to Bootstrap. So Bootstrap, it's nice, but I wouldn't recommend it all the time. There's definitely better things out there, but if you need to like rip out something really fast, like our hackathon website, which was made in a day, then Bootstrap is probably the way to go. So what's Bootstrap? It's an open source front-end framework for building responsive mobile websites and just websites in general. And what makes it so special is that it was actually targeted to phones and mobile websites. So I think it was made by Twitter, and not sure if I'm pretty sure Twitter doesn't use it now, but they used to use it or something like that, which is why it kind of looks like Twitter's font, which you'll see. And what makes it so special is that it's a single grid responsive system, and it just uses a different grid system, or a special grid system. And it's really easy to resize, really responsive, and it takes a lot of the work out of your hands. I guess it's pretty automatic is the word for it, or it abstracts a lot of the difficult things away. So here we got the grid system that they have. There you can have 12 columns in one row. A website page is divided into rows. So here you could see we got 4 columns in one row, and a row can be divided into 12 columns. So indicate the size of a column by using a number right after it. So what we're saying here is column of size 3, column of size 3, column of size 3, column of size 3, and that takes up an entire row. Down here we got 3 columns in one row, and you don't even have to put like the number right after. It's automatic, so if you just put 3 columns in one row, then they already know that they want to fit 3 columns of size 4 into one row, since a row holds 12 columns at most. Here we got two size 6 columns, and we just have 1 column down here. By the way, you can get Bootstrap Studio, which is a lot of drag and drop from the GitHub Student Developer Pack. So we'll put that in resources too. You guys should all apply for it. You got a lot of free cool stuff. The type form that we use to sign up for... Oh, question. How would it work if you would want, say, 5 columns, which isn't perfectly divisible? That is a good question. So if it isn't perfectly divisible, what they'll do is you'll have something like maybe a combination 2, 2, 1. Maybe like 2 on the left and the right side, and then a size 1 column in the middle. But you can also, we'll show you soon, but you can actually tell what column size you want it to be for specific breakpoints. Like if the web page was, I guess, like really large, you can set it to be a specific column size. If it was like medium-sized web page, then you could set it to be another column size. If it was a really small page, then you could set it to be another size, and you can kind of list this all out using Bootstrap. But if you don't list that stuff out, then it'll kind of do that for you and probably do 2, 2, 1. Yeah, I'm not sure if that makes sense, but let me know if that doesn't. But back to what I was saying before, GitHub Student Developer Pack, you got a lot of really nice resources, which is really useful. You guys should all apply for that. And yeah, let's get into doing Bootstrap. So with REPL, it's kind of unfortunate. You can't have like multiple HTML pages going at once unless you link them. So for the time being, I'm just going to rename this into like my tens.html, and I'm going to make a new index.html. And this is where I'll be using my Bootstrap stuff. So Bootstrap's really nice, and they have a get started page. We go here, and we can copy their boilerplate. Here we go. This saves a lot of time. Let me just go over here. How are we doing on time? All right, nice. Here it is. So let's run this. This is like the boilerplate that we had before. You have your HTML, you got your head, you have your body. It's everything that we had before. Except now it's importing Bootstrap using a bunch of scripts and CDNs and web pages. So you can ignore all this, but what it's doing is it's just importing all of Bootstrap stuff. So you have Bootstrap CSS files, their styling sheets, which is completely filled out with a bunch of stuff that makes it look kind of nice. And we have our Bootstrap bundle with Popper, which gives it its functionality. And jQuery should be somewhere in here, but it might be packaged in here with the Bootstrap bundle with Popper. So let's render this, and we have Hello World up here, and you can instantly see that it is a different font from what we had without Bootstrap, which was the Times New Roman one. So this is pretty nice. But as I was saying before, Bootstrap is divided into rows and columns. So let's get rid of this over here, and let's start doing the row and column thing. So I want to make... Oh, also everything's in containers, by the way, so we should probably make a container. So with Bootstrap, everything that you need, it's pretty much just like a really bulky CSS file with functionality. So everything is a class, an ID. They pretty much just made the CSS sheet for you. So I want to make a container. This is a Bootstrap container. And inside our container, we can fill it with our rows and columns. So I want to make a row, singular row. And inside our row, we need columns. So I'm going to make a column now. Bam, we got nothing left, or nothing on there right now. So let's just put something inside here. Let's make it say column. There we go, we got one thing. So just so you guys can visualize it better, I'm going to make this background black so you can kind of see the alignments that we got going on here, since it's kind of tough on a white page. You can't really see the columns, but if we Let's just give it like a background color of black. That's probably good. There we go. And how do I make it white? Let's just make the text white. Color. I think that should make all the text white. Yep, that makes all the text white inside our container. So as you can see here, we got one column. Let's make another column. There we go. We got two columns. And if we resize this, it should... I think it's because I'm using H1. Let's just use a P. It kind of depends on what you're using, but that should... What if I have in nothing? Come on. Don't be REPL's like failing me right now. This is a bit weird. This should be two columns. Did I not import it correctly? Alright, give me a second. I need to check the Bootstrap page. Oh, okay, I see. Wait, no, I don't. This is a bit odd. So the Bootstrap CSS is in, but... It's because of... I think it might just be REPL, but usually if you were to go on a real web page and you were to like just resize it, it would change sizes and all that.
Roland?
Yeah.
Isn't it call, not column?
Oh my god, I'm so dumb, bro. You're right. That's
Yeah,
what
I
it was.
think
Yeah,
that's
there we go.
why.
There we go. That's
Yeah.
why. Yeah, dude, I'm like operating on no sleep. Yep, there we go. Now it's stretching. Yeah, and like I was saying before, you could resize it so we can have like two call threes. There we go. And actually, so you can see the columns better, let's actually let's make it so let's give them like backgrounds. Okay, that is not the wave. We're gonna make another div inside a div, or inside the column. This is telling us that we want a padding of 3, and let's give it a light background. So BG light means light background. And like I was saying, when you're going over CSS, you can stack classes. So we're just stacking classes here. There we go. The text you probably can't see, which is not nice, but that is styling. Yep, I'm just gonna copy paste that. There we go. So you can see that we got our two columns here. They're both of size 3, so if we remove size 3, they're gonna both be of size 6 because you can fit 12 columns in one row. And we can actually target breaking points. So breaking points is Bootstrap kind of defines them for you, but you can find it all on their webpage. They have really nice documentation. All over here, you got the layout, everything pretty much. But what Bootstrap does is they define breaking points in your page. So if it gets like to a certain size, like specifically extra small, it'll kind of do the resizing for you. And you can define what you want to do at like these breaking points. Like that right here, that's a breaking point. That's when it starts changing some things. Let's actually do this over here. So I can do like call. Let's say when it hits medium, I want it to take up the entire row, which is probably not a good idea, but let's do that. So when it hits medium, I want it to take an entire row. So this is medium size. There we go. Yep. So whenever it's a medium-sized page, its column size, this column will be of column size 3. So right now we're in a medium-sized page, and if I were to go to like let's say a small-sized page, there we go. It takes up the entire column. And if I were to go to a really large-sized page, I guess it just stays as medium. But you just gotta play around with these breaking points. It'll just swap right there. So when it crosses from medium to small, it'll change to be an entire column, and we're just defining that medium is the breaking point here. Let's check. Any questions so far? Can you explain div again? Oh, yeah, sorry. So div, it's just short for divider, It's just a way of grouping things. Yeah. So I guess
Just adding on, Roland.
yeah,
The breaking points. The reason when you bring it all the way, the reason it stays is because medium acts as a minimum, not like a maximum. So everything medium and up will be column size 3.
yeah, not maximum, might be. So uh yeah, we can set it to like extra. No, let's not do extra large. Just do let's just do yeah, let's just keep it at medium. But there's also small, extra large. There's
I
just a
think
bunch.
LG.
LG, large in general. Yeah, there's a bunch. So yep, there we go. Large enough. So let's not define our breaking points right now because that's just a lot of work. Let's just keep them as call. There you go. So we have 2 columns in our singular row. Now let's say I wanted to. We're gonna get into like flex boxes here and like aligning content. So let's say I wanted to add an image into this column. So I'm gonna put in my tens image JPEG or images.tens.jpg. There we go. We got tens in there. But as you can see, he's kind of like in a it looks a bit wonky. Let me actually make this. Let's add some padding to this so it's nicer on the eyes. Padding. Give it like 20 pixels. There we go. But sometimes the image will be in the center, and on other times it will look really weird. So to fix that, what we can do is we can turn it into a flex box by doing. Let's turn this column specifically into one. So let's do d.flex. So that tells it can be a flex box. And it actually did it for us. Yeah, it automatically centered it, but probably because we don't have multiple things in here. If we had multiple things, then it would start to get clumped up. And if you turn it into a flex box, then what you could do is you can do justify content center. And you could do align item center. Yeah, and what that justify content center does is it justifies everything horizontally to the center, and align item center, it aligns everything vertically. So everything in a vertical line will be, it would be like if you took like a tower, it would be in the middle of that tower, in terms of height. So if you had 70 floors, it'd be floor 35. And if you did justify content center, that's horizontal. So it'll be like the door in the middle of your tower. Aside from that, I think that's pretty much just aligning. We got that done. And I guess the last part we'll go over for Bootstrap is, let's just go over buttons. So buttons, or Bootstrap comes with a lot of functionality, or not a lot of functionality, but it comes with like some functionality, including buttons, nav bars, and it takes a lot of the work out of like your time. So we can add, let's just make a button. So to do that, I probably should have mentioned this in HTML, but you can make a button by doing just typing button. Pretty self-explanatory. And then everything inside it, let's just do like row your boat. Run that. And REPL is lagging. It's probably like importing everything from Bootstrap right now. Let's give it some time. There we go. We have our button here, but it isn't styled for Bootstrap. So let's give it a styling. Let's give it a button primary. That makes it a Bootstrap button. So now it looks a lot nicer. There's also other types of buttons. So you got button danger. That makes it red. You got button secondary. And there's just a bunch of them. You have to look on the website through the documentation. I'll post that later. But you could just like turn it into different things quickly. As you can see, you click on it and it's highlighted and everything. So that you don't have to do that in CSS. It does it for you. And I think that's pretty much, I think, it that we have time for. So does anybody have any more questions? If not, I will post this stuff inside the resources, and thank y'all for coming. Yeah, good luck hacking. We have a Scriblio event, I think, going on right next in about 15 minutes, so the winner of that will be getting a prize as well. Cough, cough. Oh, some people are typing. Thank you. No problem. Can you use Visual Studio Code for Replit? So Visual Studio Code and Replit are both separate things. Let me actually stop the recording.